let's focus on the top three. And these are the top three that from now I have the polls in the community, but they also do these calls with clients and coaching, clients. And from talking to thousands of people and doing over $1 billion of the transactions, these are the problems that must be solved first. And the number one is sort of the most important one. And actually, if you just do number one, all the other ones will go away. It's just taking action, taking consistent, massive action, and then underwriting deals, and then talking to sellers, sales confidence. Okay, and actually, it's just a circle. So everything comes back to taking action. That's like that's the trick. But we're going to go through each one of these. And I think at the end, hopefully, you're going to have the tools that you need and some tricks to hopefully bring you guys and apply these things to solve these problems in your business or your budding business, depending on kind of where you are. Okay. So the first problem, taking action. So you're not taking enough action. All right. You're learning instead of doing. So you're someone who maybe is on YouTube all the time and you're learning, but then you're not taking those learnings and applying them. And you're not bringing it to the ground level, right? So you may be spending all this time learning about how wrap strategies work, or how to use a piece of software, or how do I structure this deal, or how do I use this calculator? And that's all great, but until you start taking the action of making offers and talking with sellers, none of that's going to matter. So we want to make sure that you're not thinking about perfectionism. That's all about procrastination, right? A lot of people, they want to be perfect. They want to make sure they can use the spreadsheet and make sure they can get through the entire seller conversation. Let's be careful about it. It's very important that you don't overthink it. And I come from an analyst background, so I was this way, right? And so if I need my engineers or my lawyers on the call, or anybody who's done a lot of that sort of work, they may want to get the whole system and the whole process ready to go and know every single step. You can't really do that in real estate. You have to go forward and do step one before step two will be revealed to you. It's kind of like driving down a road in the dark with your headlights on. You trust that there's a road in front of you. But you have to keep driving down the road to see the next 100 feet, Okay. So think about that in your real estate journey. You have to just take action, put your foot on the gas and go, and just trust that the road will continue to be in front of you, and those headlights will continue to serve you as you continue to drive down that road. Okay. So now, what's the solution to all that nonsense that I just said? That you have to get down to the ground, take a piece of paper, actual paper, not a computer. You can use a computer if you want to, but really a piece of paper. Set some daily minimums around action. Okay. And hold yourself accountable. When I bring on people to my team, salespeople or underwriters, or I'm talking to my students, we set very low goals to start. It may just be talk to one seller today, make one offer today, do one underwriting today. That might be the baseline that you have to start with, but I'll tell you, one of each of those things is better than doing zero. And so start with one, make that your plan for the week. Set that down, write it down. I'm going to make one offer. I'm going to talk to one seller. I'm going to underwrite one property. Okay. And maybe if we apply it back to DealMachine, it might be, I'm going to drive 2 miles today, digitally. Right. And I'm going to take down a list of 50 leads from that. And I'm going to call all 50. And if they don't pick up, then I'm going to follow up tomorrow. Right. Okay. So you're done. Okay. And once you've done that, you can go home, or if you're home already, because maybe you work from home, you leave that room and you go somewhere else, you have a snack. Okay. So that's what you want to do. Get down to the nitty gritty, set your minimum standards, and it becomes a habit. So you want to start there. And it may be exactly as I said, drive 2 miles, take down 50 leads, make your list, make your calls, done. And an offer a day will get you success. Okay. And it starts with an offer. Okay. So, and it's not that one offer is going to get you to your first deal, right? But the habit of making the offer, it's going to become easier and easier. And then all of a sudden, your minimums are going to go from driving 2 miles to driving 10 miles. And 50 leads will turn into 500. And 100 offers in a year will turn into 100 offers a month. And now all of a sudden, you got a stew going. So like you're really going, okay? So that's what I really want you to be thinking about. That's the solution, is I want you guys to be thinking about daily minimums, accountability threads, and you guys have the opportunity to do that with the DealMachine community. So you can go into that accountability spreadsheet or networking spreadsheet and pod up with people. Find people who can be accountability buddies for you, and you can share your daily minimums with them and say, hey, did you get your offer out today? Did you do your driving today? Okay. And make a small group and then connect with each other every single day. That's how you guys are going to get success. And this might sound like, oh, wow, this sounds like maybe like a lot of work. Nobody who's successful got it done by not doing any work. Okay. So whatever the gurus will tell you that they just like overnight success. I've been doing this for 15 years. And I can tell you that I wasn't great at this to start, but over time, you build the habits, you build the muscle, just like going to the gym. Okay. So second problem after taking action. And I will tell you that really that's like 90%. So like 90% of everything that you need to know is just basically habits and taking action. Because if you take enough action, all of the other things go away. The sales reluctance, the confidence, the underwriting problems, all of that stuff goes away just by taking the action, right? Because if you underwrite 100 deals, you're no longer going to be worried about underwriting deals. If you've had 150,000 seller conversations and you've gone through those conversations the first 30 seconds of a call 2,000 times in the last month, that's just habits. That's putting your socks on. Okay. So that's what I want you guys to be thinking about, that everything starts from taking action. All right. So the problem is you're taking hours to comp a property. You're too scared to submit offers and you're worried that you're going to get it wrong. I saw someone already put in here, well, what if they ask for proof of funds? What if they accept my offer? God forbid we get the offer accepted and the thing that we want happens. Or we spend 3 hours trying to figure out what the ARV of the property is when, maybe you could have figured it out in 5 minutes. You're at the same price you were after 5 minutes as you were at 3 hours. Okay. So what's the solution? So I actually just said them all right there in the problems. So the first thing I want you guys to be thinking about is if you're comping a property or underwriting a property, I want you to think about if you have this problem, right? So I want you to time yourself for how long it takes you to go through your underwriting process. Okay. And everybody's going to have a different baseline where they're starting. You might it might take you 20 minutes. It might take you 3 hours. It might take you 5 minutes, whatever that is. Start your baseline and just continue to time yourself as you're doing it. Don't be afraid to, loom yourself as well. If you guys are familiar with Loom, you can take video capture of your process. And then I want you to, at minute 2 of the time, after doing this a few times, at minute 2, I want you to stop your underwriting and I want you to just take a guess based on what you've done in the first 2 minutes, what you think the numbers are, and write them down. Okay. Then I want you to complete your analysis. And then I want you to compare your 2-minute number to your 25-minute number, your 2-hour number, your 3-day number, whatever that is. And then I think what you're going to find is that you're wasting a lot of time between minute 2 and minute 27, especially as you get more pattern recognition around deals and you underwrite more deals. I can typically figure out a price for a deal within the first 60 seconds. And so, and you will be able to do that too after you do a lot of deals. So I recommend timing your base case. There's dual purpose there. You're going to time it and then you're going to be able to work your times down because you're going to find dead space in your analysis. You're going to figure out what you're doing, spending all this time. You're also going to be able to dissect your process and ensure that you can do consistency each and every time. You don't want to be doing a different process every time. You want to do consistent process, use consistent templates and calculators, and you should be doing practice before you go live. Here, I also put in here the DealMaker Deal Desk. I'll talk about that later. In our community, we have a deal desk where you can submit deals and we will actually partner with you on those deals and monetize them for you. And also help you, even if you don't want a JV, we'll also just give you value checks and help you with your underwriting. So, and the community, I didn't say this, but it's free. So, but that's what you want to do here is really practice. Think about that 2-minute drill versus what you typically takes you. And then it'll help your brain understand and rationalize the fact that you're wasting time. It'll be very apparent to you after you say, okay, I spent 2 minutes and I got a price of 197. And then I spent 27 minutes and now I'm at 198.5. It's different, but basically the same. Okay. So, and just imagine how many more properties you can underwrite if you could you could do 10 times as many offers, right? That's the big trick, right? The big trick isn't that your variance is 2%. It's that if you could get these offers out in 2 minutes or even 5 minutes versus 25, you can send out 5 times as many offers or 20 times as many offers. And offer volume, in my opinion, based on my experience, offers out is the lead metric to success. The more offers you send, the more deals you get done. And so if there's anything in my business that's a bottleneck, it's how many offers are we getting out per person per day? Or how much dollar offers are we sending? So are we sending out offers on $300 million of the property, 3 billion, 20,000, whatever it is? That's what we kind of look at as a global company. And ultimately, we're looking at conversion math. So number of offers out ultimately converts into properties under contract, and then that ultimately converts into deals that we close. Avoiding seller conversations. So that's your last problem. Again, I heard a lot of people talking about, I want to know how this conversation is going to go. What if they ask for proof of funds? What if they accept my offer? What if I have to negotiate? What do I do? Okay. So there's always an opportunity when you're on a call to stop the call and pick the conversation up somewhere else. Right. So that's one thing I really want you guys to be thinking about. But anyway, if they ask you something you don't know, or you freeze when the phone rings and you're worrying about sounding salesy. Okay. So the solution is you should have, I'm sure everyone here has a script that they've either been shared by someone else or they've developed, or if you use ChatGPT, just type in ChatGPT, hi, ChatGPT, can you please give me a seller script for this type of situation? B2C, B2B, blah, blah, blah. It'll give you a great script that'll be better than anything that you're going to get for any paid money from anywhere. Okay. So you can get a free script from anywhere. And I recommend, again, with the accountability pods, with using the list for networking, get together and do live replays. This is, again, is about action. This is about experience of just having conversations with people. So I would recommend also, as you're in your daily life, if you don't have a job that you talk to a lot of people, try to just strike up a conversation in a store with someone. Just try to just have more conversations. This is just about having conversations, right? So I also want to know that you should know that you're, at least in our business, in my experience, we're not really selling anything. We're providing a solution to someone who is usually in a somewhat of a desperate situation, right? So so really it's all about really doing discovery and learning more about them and listening to them, and then providing the solution that's most appropriate to their situation. And then if it's a fit, you're not like you're not stealing their property or like convincing them to sell. It's that you're providing them the solution that works best for them. And so I'll really be focusing on empathy and not perfection, and realize that they're a person and you're a person and you're just having a conversation. So I want you to focus on role playing. I want you to use a script. And I also just want you to know that it's a very simple conversation to have with a seller in the beginning, right? Is that you're opening it up. You're saying who you are, where you're from, if you're coming from a company, and then why you're calling. That's it. You're just trying to open up that conversation, and that's it. Now, if someone asks you something like, it doesn't matter what it is. If you get into a position where you're not sure what to say, have on your script an out statement, a statement where you're like, you know what, that's a great question, Mr. Sir. I'm going to have to go back and check with my team about that, and I'd love to get back to you later today. Would you like to talk today at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock? What would be best? And I'll bring you that answer. There's nothing you can't get out of based on that. Like, they want to know, they want proof of funds. They want to know what's your price, whatever it is. Just have it written down in front of you, having practiced it already, and then you can get out of any conversation at any moment. Okay. And then also, I don't recommend this, but when I first started, sometimes I'd be like, I just hang up because I was like, oh, I don't even know what to say in this situation. But I don't recommend that. I recommend having a line or two that you can use to just basically get out of the conversation, pull their ask away from that conversation, but also then set the next appointment. Because every time you talk to someone, you want to set the next action plan, like the next action point, right? It's either a conversation, it's an appointment, something like that. So these are the three big things that I want you to solve. If you solve these, and really it all comes back to action. So as long as you're taking consistent action and growing that into a habit, you will be able to solve the underwriting challenge. That is not after your first 100 underwritings. That won't be a challenge. That's a challenge of the start. After the start, this goes away. Okay. You may have complexities around analyzing different types of deals. Maybe you're doing these like complicated strategies with creative financing and you're like, I don't know how to use this spreadsheet. Okay. Well, you use the spreadsheet 5 times and then you're through that challenge. Okay. So these underwriting challenges is mostly from the start. Sales, takes a little longer to get over sales. That might be I don't want to say how long. It depends on how many conversations you have a day. So if you have 50 conversations a day, by the end of the month, you're going to be fine. If you have 50 conversations in a year, it's going to take you some years to get through it. Okay. So you really want to be thinking about taking action and eliminating the dead space between your action. That's what's going to allow you to eliminate the sales fear. That's what's going to allow you to eliminate the underwriting concerns, and everything else is going to flow based on this.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.